Hello, 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 YouTube. How you guys doing today? Welcome back to our next episode of Real Talk Therapy 101 with your girl Ebony. And this week we are focusing, we're still into self-care, just moving into another phase of it. And we're calling this week's segments Self-Care 102, because we've done Self-Care 101, and we're moving into how to become more self-aware. What self-awareness means, what it means to be aware of yourself, who you are, and what you have going on. So, before we get started, as always, let's go into today's shirt design, and hopefully you guys can see this pretty good and read it. But it says identity theft, Real Talk Therapy 101. And you remember yesterday we talked about identity crisis. Remember how I told you if you are in a crisis and you fail to go back to who you are once you make it out of the other side of that crisis, you will eventually do something that would not be good for you or the person that you're trying to imitate, and it's called identity theft. And not in the sense of the word as we know it. It's not anybody stealing your identity. It's you trying to become something or someone that you're not. It's you stealing somebody else's identity because you haven't become who you need to be, or you haven't stayed the course long enough to figure out who you even are. So now you out here trying to be somebody else. But my God, before I get going, let's go with today's bag of the day. Oh, Coach Messenger. This is an oldie but goodie. I don't even know how long I had this bag, to be honest with you. But I call it my mail carrier bag. As you can see perfectly, for this laptop, paperwork, court, what have you, just all around. Good tote. And yes, on Real Talk Therapy, if you're just joining us, my AirPod just fell out my ear and I took the time to put it back in there. But at any rate, here we go. Today's bag of the day is the carrier. And let's get down in here and get going. We do have our kicks of the day. Should be able to see those. We're wearing those pearly whites again, y'all. Remember, I told you I'm not one that plays by the rules when it comes to fashion. Because I still want to know who said we can't wear white after Labor Day and what they had going on when they said it anyway. So I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my grandmas again about that one, because I don't know where that came from. Who told us we had to do that and why? But anyway, let's get into today's real talk conversation about identity theft. So self-awareness is knowing who you are and being aware of the person that you've become and accepting who you are and where you are in life, and learning to go where you really want to go if you haven't already gotten to that plateau. And we should all want to grow. Growth should be an ongoing thing for everybody. But if you've reached the level, plateau of where you want to be, that's cool too. You don't have to go any higher than where you are or where you want to be. Nobody is saying that. But if you are not comfortable with where you are, comfortable with who you are, comfortable with what you have going on, then you need to take some time and get to know you again. Because, just like I said on yesterday, if you're in an identity crisis during a certain time of your life when you're going through something, you will adapt some behaviors that you may, excuse me, you may not have had before. Pardon me, guys. And a little dry cough and all this stuff. A little water. The season is changing to you, girl. Like I said, I have seasonal allergies and sinuses. So, if you don't learn how to get back to your basics, you will end up taking on some characteristics that are not yours to keep. But there are some people out here who actually sit back, watch you, figure out how they can get around you, and eventually try to be you. And that's all because in the midst of their identity crisis, they didn't know how to become their authentic self through all of that. Now, in a crisis, we lose some things or we gain some characteristics that we never had. If we never go back and address those things, it can be detrimental to who you are going forward. And when it comes to our mental, sometimes we believe the grass is greener on the other side, and we see it's dead and wilted. Sometimes we believe that the person that we think we want to be, their life is so great and everybody loves Raymond and all of this and that, however you want to put it. Because when you're around that individual, they're receiving something from other people that you want, but you haven't taken the time to learn how to engage with other people in that manner. I don't meet strangers. If I meet you and we spark up a conversation, I love the Walmart greeters. Y'all know I tell y'all that all the time. But I will talk to people in the store. I will help people. And that's just who I am. Beyonce has a song, y'all know that, Alien Superstar. And the intro to that song says, I'm one of one, I'm the only one. And I've said this before because in there she talks about being unique. But she says, I'm twisted, often contradicted. And there's no one else in this world that can think like me. I feel her on that because that's how much I'm confident in who I am. So I don't worry about my identity being stolen in the mental sense, because no matter how hard anybody out there has tried and or is trying, you're not gonna get it, boo. And that's because your mode was specific for you, just like my mode was specific for me. And on Friday, I was traveling. Guys, remember a few weeks ago, I told you I go out of town for work and I was coming home and I got lost. So this particular time, went out of town on a Friday for work. And usually if I do go out of town on a Friday for work, I usually try to stay overnight and not bother trying to, come back home. But this particular day, on this past Friday, coming back in, there was a wreck that was on the highways that I take to get home. And so I know a couple of different ways, but remember I told y'all, I tried to go one way without the navigation and was completely lost. Well, this time, the navigation said 41-minute wait to get past a wreck. There was a wreck, and the girl talked to me through the phone. And I decided the next exit, I'm going to get off and I'm going to put in a highway that I'm familiar with. And if I can get to that highway, I know I can get home. So I get off, but I don't change the coordinates in the GPS. So it's still trying to take me home, but it's still trying to put me right back on the highway that I was on. So, I'm on the phone with my husband and I'm debriefing my time and I'm on the phone with him and I'm going and my really good girlfriend, well, she's my sister at this point. She called, well, first she texted. And I couldn't get her text because I'm driving and there's traffic and this thing keep trying to tell me to get back on this highway. And at this point, I'm talking back to the GPS like, I ain't going that way. I just need to get to this particular road and I'll know my way. So, as I'm talking to my husband and after she texted me, she called. And so, I asked my husband, hold on, let me get this call or whatever. So when I click over, the first thing she says, not knowing about the traffic or anything, and that's why I say there's a lot of divine intervention in my life, and I'm grateful for it. She's like, hey, I meant to tell you, there's a way to go home from here, and you don't even have to get on the highway. Now, y'all, your girl was frustrated at this point. And when I'm mad and frustrated, rather than take it out on somebody that has nothing to do with it, I'm unusually quiet. And so she felt that, and I was like, you know what? It's odd that you called me because I'm out here, this thing trying to put me back on this highway. I'm not trying to go that way. I don't care what it say. And while I'm sounding it out with her, you know, the light bulbs go off like, change the GPS to the highway that you're trying to get to, sis. But somehow, when I put in the coordinates at a red light, somehow it added where I was trying to go as a stop. But it was still trying to take me the way that I would go home. I don't know what I hit, what button I did. I don't know what I did. And it was trying to avoid stuff. And I don't know what I did. So needless to say, I'm riding around. Nothing looks familiar. And it seems like I'm never going to get where I'm going. And my good girlfriend and I, my sister, we start talking about it. And I kept telling her, you know, my husband's on the other end, but he knows I'm on this end with you. And the more she and I talked about directions, getting lost, you know, she was like, I'm so sorry. And I said, you know, you don't have to apologize to me for not telling me that before I left. I'm just glad to know it now. So my next trip up the road, I know what to do. So she's sharing that stuff with me and sharing how when she relocated to that area, how it was still a lot for her. And we're just talking. And then we start talking about different things, just different stuff related to our lives, what we've gone through, you know, what we do. And, you know, I explained something to her. We were talking about something, and she said to me, you know, the way you think and the way people are when it comes to you, it's diabolical. It blows my mind. You can break some stuff down in ways that I would have never thought about it. And then it helps me. So even though you're my sister, you're my friend, I come to your channel. It's a daily dose of therapy for me. And I lay there with my eyes closed and I'm listening to you. And she goes, you know, because you a clown. And I said, see, I don't even know whether to take that as a compliment or a dig, you know? And she's like, no, I'm for real with your full self. She's like, and I mean it in a loving way, because when you're explaining this stuff and I hear your voice elevate, you go through, she's like, I know you're serious, but it comes off as, you know, it's funny. And so I'm glad to know that it's relatable in that way, but I was even more relieved to know that, you know, adding humor, adding a sense of realness, being real with what I'm doing is relatable. And that's part of my identity. You know, when I say 101, it's going back as elementary as we can be to learn some things. Because I don't care how many degrees you got or how many acronyms are behind your name. If you don't have a sense of passion for what you're doing, you're never going to do it right. And so we were talking about our careers and different things. And she was telling me about somebody that she listens to. I'm going to tell y'all who and what it is. I try to have my props together too, y'all, but I ain't doing such a good job with that, but that's cool. We're going to get there. She was telling me about somebody that she listens to or knows or something. I can't remember. But the phrase or the saying that I'm getting ready to say to you guys is Brother Nuri, N-U-R-I, Muhammad, M-U-H-A-M-M-A-D. And on something she was listening to, or however she got the message, she shared it with me and she said, too many do what they're paid for, not what they're made for. And y'all know I'm going to pause when I need y'all to pick something up that I'm putting down. So I'm going to put it down again. Too many do what they're paid for and not what they're made for. And she's like, you know, sis, you made for this. You're made for this because, for one, you're so humble and oblivious to the fact of when people around you are trying to steal your identity. Girl, please, don't nobody want to be like me. Some days I used to didn't want to be like me. And she's like, no, you don't realize how magnetic you are. You don't realize how you touch and move people. And she started talking about COVID and the Lysol and how, I just blessed the nation and just all these different things. But it was just who I am and who I was then and who I am now. And she said, you should be flattered. It's okay to be flattered. And I immediately got a sense of urgency about it. And I told her, no, I want people to be who they are. I want them to tap into who they were created to be. I'm made already. There is no other Ebony, drop the Y, add I-E. Ebony, if y'all didn't catch that. There is not another Ebony Latoya Williams. Never was one before July 10th, 1978, and will never be one after the day I depart from this place. And that goes for you. There was never anybody like you before you came, and there will never be anybody like you when you leave. But if you spend your time stealing people's identity and not looking for your true, authentic self, you're going to miss your entire purpose for being alive. I already told y'all. You got to catch it to keep up when it comes to your girl. And again, that ain't being cocky. That's coming from a place of confidence because I had allowed people to steal my confidence. I gave my peace away before. And I ain't going back there. That bridge is burned. That route is no longer calculating in my mind because that's a choice that I had to make for myself. Nothing bad about it. I had to go through it to get to it. I'm on my way. And my job here is to help you find your way so you can be on your way too. I want everybody to be who they are. I applaud authentication. Be authentic. You are uniquely and wonderfully made. Tap into that. I'm too complex to be copied. Told y'all I could be listening to rap, go to a little Jesus gospel, hit a little country. Then now I'm in the 80s. Listen to Madonna. You might be my lucky star or something. And there's too many layers to me for you to copy them. Too complex. Tap into who you are. Guys, stop this identity theft. Stop it. I guarantee you, everything that you admire and or want to be like in someone else, you possess it within yourself. But you're just afraid to do the work and get to know who you are. If you were a kid who ever copied somebody's paperwork in school, I hope and pray that you change now, because sometimes you could have been copying the wrong answers. And if you're a copycat, you're a duplicate of something. You copying somebody else's stuff. And you don't know if what you copying is correct. You don't know if what you're trying to duplicate is worth the duplication. Originals are outrageous. Originals are outstanding. Originals are withstanding. Originals are authentic. And if it's authentic, it's worth so much more. Hot, so I'm getting into tomorrow. But you have to go back to the drawing board and get to know who you are. It will never work trying to be like and or emulate or copy somebody else, because you're going to miss a step. You're going to miss a step. And when you're trying to copy or be like somebody else, eventually you'll be exposed. Because the people who really know you're not being yourself. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You are everything. You matter. So feel that way about yourself. Because if you go out here trying to do what I do, next week I'm doing something different. Now you're mad because you got to catch up to keep up. But if you just do what you were designed to do, if you stay in your lane that was created for you, you'll be okay. You'll be better than okay. Then you can tap into what you need to tap into. You can get through these uncharted waters that you're trying to get through. You won't be stuck like Chuck. You just won't be. I promise you, you won't be. You can never begin the journey of self-care if you don't care enough about yourself to be yourself. If you don't care enough about yourself to cover yourself. You got to care enough about yourself to take care of yourself first. It's not being selfish. It's not. It's being self-aware. It's being self-conscious. It's a layer of self-preservation. Protect your neck, like Wu-Tang said. Guard your heart, like Andre 3000. Guard your heart, 3 Stacks. Guard you. But in order to protect you, you got to know who you are and what you're protecting. Your authentic self. Your authentic self. I can't. Your authentic self is everything. And you gotta know that. It's everything. I get real passionate about this thing, y'all, now. I do. Because I want to celebrate you and all of who you are. And it doesn't matter what you've done, where you've been, or where you came from. All that matters is now. Your past is behind you. Your present is in front, or you're right here in the midst of it. Your future is ahead of you. Your lane is wide open. You can go at any speed limit you want to go because it's your lane. What you going to the left for? Or to the right? Ain't nothing over there that belongs to you. Look straight ahead and stay focused so that you can become your true, authentic self. So anybody that hasn't subscribed yet, please do so we can take this channel to such new heights so Coach can reach out to your girl and give me a sponsorship. Also, Crush, Peach, I'm sorry, but Crush, if anybody can get up with them, the soda brand. I don't even know who makes it. I got to do some research. You can always order any of the t-shirts that you see me wear. You can also order custom-made t-shirts. Our website is coming soon. Our clothing company is Luxury Tax Clothing. And I've also got a special surprise for you guys at the end of the week to display a clothing brand of somebody who is very, very near and dear to my heart. So please stay tuned for that. But again, just remember, Self-Care 102 is where we at. We're in the second phase of this thing. And it's self-awareness at its finest. So when you're going through a crisis identity or identity crisis and you're dealing with something you've never dealt with before, don't make it part of your identity. It was a crisis. You made it past it. Let it go. When we're dealing with identity theft, stop trying to be something that you're not. Stop it. Because you'll never be able to do it. Tap into who you are, what you are, and how you need and want to be. That's what you got to do in order to get through these uncharted waters. If you keep trying to be like everybody else, I don't know where your boat going to end up at. And I'm going to go ahead on and tell you, I'm going to refer you to a friend. Because I ain't getting ready to deal with you out there in some water and you want to be somebody other than who you are. I believe in you. You matter. So let's talk about that. Okay? Have a good one. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And see you guys tomorrow on Real Talk Therapy 101.